back, everyone. This is part 2 of The Illusion of Scarcity Money. I'll get rid of that. So here's the thing that we looked at is the debt-based economy. The reason why I wanted to do the debt-based economy and the money issue first is because debt-based economy ties into the rest of what is talked about when we talk about the illusion of scarcity. One thing I noticed, like in this, that I would okay, yeah, assets, liabilities. Okay, one thing I noticed is the thing that I wanted to talk about in part 2 was the top tier people, the people that make billions of dollars a year. And it was said to me that the people in the top tier, this is actually not 1%, it's 0.01%. They're not really creating any debt or debt with interest, and to me, based on this diagram, that seems to be more detrimental to our economy than anything. They're not really, they're sitting on money. I bet people would like to proclaim that they're not sitting on money. And the idea of trickle-down economics is that you cut taxes, you make rich people, you put more money in their pocket than they'll pay the people that work for them more money, and that's just not the case. That has not been proven to be the case once. Not yet. That has never been shown to be the case. Maybe with really small businesses, but big businesses, no, absolutely not. So looking at it, like the top tier, like, I mean, how many clothes do you think these people buy? Like, they buy really expensive clothes, but they probably buy the same amount of clothes that a normal person does. I don't think they buy multiple beds. They buy really expensive things. They might have a bigger, more expensive house, so they furnish it. But, I mean, ultimately, they stop at some point, and they just sit on money. I mean, that's what they do. Even if we look at the middle class, which has been shrinking, and if you Google the different classes and the percentage of Americans that are in each class or in a particular income bracket, you'll see that the middle class does shrink. And one of the questions that they ask is, why is it that people in lower class and middle class incomes have come to sit on money as well? And it's not for the same reason that the people in the top tier do. The people in the top tier do it because, well, it seems quite obvious that they just don't have anything to spend it on. Like they bought out anything that they desire or want. They just go out and buy it. So I mean, it's not. They don't really create debt. And this is like kind of a diagram of what I went through in the first video. Money supply versus debt. Debt is like way up here. That's 2012. Grow or die. Yeah, we need an economic growth, and that's why I'm a huge advocate for marijuana legalization, because it's economic growth. But essentially the idea goes is that these top tier people, they could take a whole bunch of money, and if they took like this massive ton of money that they don't use and they distributed it amongst the population, we would all feel vibrantly richer, or like economically better off. Is that a realistic thing to request? No, I don't think it is. You will not be able to get that money out of their hands. It's just not going to happen. It won't happen. I can promise that. Like, yes, that may be true, that the top tier people could probably end economic disparity, but is that going to happen? No, probably not. It's not a very realistic ideology. It's a very nice ideology, but it's not very realistic. But it is true that the top tier people in the United States, they probably could put an end to poverty, but they're not going to. But this is the point that I was making, though, is that the people in the top tier, it would seem that they're actually hurting the economy. So I find it interesting that the government finds that trickle-down economics works well, and it's never been proven to work at all. And so they make major tax cuts, like, they give these billionaires huge tax breaks because they make so much money. And that's more money for them to sit on. Oh yeah, the question is why do people in middle class and lower class sit on money? Because, well, they do it for a different reason. They do it because things are expensive and you have to put your wants over your, other way around, your needs over your wants. That gets prioritized and compartmentalized. So you don't have a lot of consumers in an economy that's doing bad, and ultimately the lack of consumerism causes the debt-based economy to go bad. And that's where I bring up the marijuana legalization issue. In Colorado, they had a surplus of money in the schools. The lowest branch, according to the government, had a surplus because of marijuana legalization. I mean, that's just that. Why aren't we doing this? Seriously, why would we not legalize something that causes a surplus in education? The lowest branch, like the government puts military and all kinds of things first before the education department, and yet even the education department at the very bottom had a surplus of money in Colorado because of marijuana sales. This is an industrial boom. Anytime we have sunken into an economic collapse, the thing that has gotten us out of the economic collapse has been industrial boom. Look at the Industrial Revolution, look at the invention of the automobile, look at the invention of the internet. Some people would say that war is what gets us out of debt. And it's like, yes, no. Again, it's a yes-no thing. We do go to war, we do tend to take up a lot of engineering development, and creating bigger, better weapons and a bigger, better military force. And then we go and we do something to a country, and then they owe us money back or something like that. It's all has to do with debt-based and exchange on the federal level. But honestly, it's just not long before we sink back into the depression that we came in after war. It's just, that's the thing, that there's costs to war. Like, all the damage that we do over there, we have to pay back. So, no, war is not necessarily the answer. And let's look at that more moralistically, ethically. Is it ethical to go to war just because your economy is in the shit? No, it's not ethical. You need to figure something else out to do, like, I don't know, legalize marijuana. But anyway, yeah, so the top tier, they're just holding on to billions of dollars. It's not being circulated into the economy. It's not producing any debt. It's not paying off any debt. It's doing nothing. It's just doing absolutely nothing. And so, as far as the scarcity of money, is it an illusion? Yes, it is an illusion, because realistically, there is more money out there than we think there is. However, the economic system being debt-based, we have to earn this money somehow, and if you go back and you look at the top paying, or the top 100 something employers in the United States, they're all minimum wage. The majority are minimum wage, like 80-90% of them are minimum wage employers, or close to it. A wage that's very difficult to live off of. It's it's not like earning 40, 50,000 a year. And originally I would say, you know, like 30, $35,000 a year, but everything has been jacked up in price so much that actually makes it more difficult for us. So trickle-down economics does not work, and you know, the government has tried that before. That's what trickle-down economics is. It's the idea that if you give rich people more money, then they'll give the people that work for them or the people in lower classes more money, and that just, it doesn't happen. It just does not happen. It doesn't. Reaganomics doesn't work. But the reason I did this economic one first is because the debt-based economy does tie into the illusion of scarcity when it comes to food supplies. Some of our debt-based economy is actually wrapped around the concept of importing goods and services from other countries, such as bananas and coffee and various other things. And that's all done through the barter and trade that on the federal level that they have with other countries, which I'm not so sure that tariffs in Mexico are going to work out on our debt-based economy. You're basically making it so that we're not going to get bananas. Like, granted, whatever, like, on that, like, so what, you don't have bananas, you can find a different source of potassium. But one thing that I think is interesting about it is that we've actually, by companies going into other countries and, you know, like having these banana farms specifically for American industry, it has not only helped our country out obtain these goods, because there's not really a whole lot of places in the United States that you can grow bananas and harvest them to where you would have them all year. They would become a seasonal thing. So really, the fact that we get bananas from other countries and that U.S. companies go into other countries and pay these people, it actually keeps them out of black markets. Like, if you look at the Chiquita banana wars, that's a real thing that happens, I believe, in Africa. And they do a lot of really nasty things to each other to try and compete, and it's not... It's basically these banana farmers trying to get Chiquita to buy their bananas, and they literally, like, destroy each other's crops and kill each other. And like, one of the things that we noticed in the boom of the coffee industry, like when people started drinking or I guess what they call gourmet or better coffee, better quality coffee, you know, with the beans and grinding the beans up and the espressos and all that, is that you are actually helping coffee farmers out in South America, because before the coffee trade market was done underground by illegal supervision, a lot of them didn't get paid. A lot of them were looking for money just to pay themselves out of the gang affiliation or mafia affiliation that they had in South America. And by U.S. corporations going in there and paying them a salaried wage or maybe even an hourly wage, it's not a lot of money. It's cheaper than hiring people to do it in the United States. But it's actually saved them from dealing with mafia members in underground markets that would originally would have sold it to American merchants to sell it over here. And in doing such, you risk things that are some FDA no-nos. So I would say keep that in mind. My cat is coming up here, but I'm going to keep this video short. I'm going to leave it as it is. I'll do another illusion of scarcity on food for the next video, but I wanted to cover the top tier and say, yes, they do have enough money that they could possibly get rid of poverty, but is that a realistic thing? Are they really going to just hand over money to poor people? No. No, they're not going to do it. So still, again, I say yes, no, because yes, the money is there, but getting the system to change that dramatically is really a pipe dream. It's ideal, but is it realistic? No, probably not. The probability of such is so low. I would be shocked if it happened. I mean, just shocked. And if it is going to happen, because it's not that it's improbable, it's just, well, I mean, it is improbable, but it's not that it's impossible. But if it is ever going to happen, it probably won't happen in our lifetime. So we need to work with the economic system that we have currently. It is great that there's alternative ideas to the economic system that we have now, and hopefully someday those ideas will grow and they will come fruition with more research, and as our economic systems just start to break down and stop working. And that's really what we're seeing when we keep trying to get the economy moving, is just that, I mean, like, how many times are we going to come up with an economic boom? I mean, it's just kind of crazy. Like, at some point we need to draw a line and say, okay, this monetary system is not working out anymore. And I think some of the fear too behind getting rid of the monetary system is that people will just sit around and play with their genitals all day, and not do anything to contribute to society, which I would hope that wouldn't be the case, because people do have aspirations and desires to do things in life. There are things that they're good at, there's things that they have passions for that they want to do, and if they were allowed to do them without financial restrictions, that would be really amazing, because each person really has something that they can bring to society. But then, you look at customer service industries and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, what's going to replace that? But, then again, technology is on the rise. We got automated systems, and we've got fully automated McDonald's. Well, there's one fully automated McDonald's that's in existence today. But you still need, engineers to upkeep and maintain and improve on technologies. So the supposedly the motivation behind people becoming this or doing whatever is, money, the monetary system, to which we equate to resource. It's that primitive nature of resource. The more resource we have, the more survivable we are. So that's what I have. So, like, it's a yes no thing. It's like, yes, you're right. We could possibly not have as much poverty as we proclaim to have, but the reason why it's there is because we've got this debt-based economy system, and we refuse to step out of it because we don't see a plausible answer yet. So as answers become more available and something that gets on the table that's a plausible idea that's not going to allow hundreds of people to sit around and play with their genitals all day, eat cookies, and do nothing to contribute anything at all, and to make sure that we keep, progressing society and humanity as a whole forward, they want to keep it. They want to keep the system of commodity and commerce, the monetary system. They want to keep it. It's a motivational tactic. It's saying you don't get resources unless you do something for society. To which there are people that can't. There are disabled people that can't function in society, and that's where we, the liberals step in and they create social care things that Republicans absolutely hate. But I'm all in support of Richard Dawkins' ideology of creating an anti-Darwinian society in which even the weakest links can survive. If you are a species that even the most genetically inferior can survive in, you are, like, you're doing good. You're more than the top of the food chain at that point, and virtually almost indestructible. And that's ultimately, I think, what any creature, any living animal would probably try to go for, because that's essentially survival of the fittest. Natural instincts is survive, prevail. etc. You know, just live, thrive, flourish, proliferate, that kind of thing. And you need resources to do that. So, anyway, with that, next one I'll go over food, and I'll go over housing. Food will probably be actually more complicated than this, I believe, but that completes this. So, with that, I'm out.